Awesome. So how lucky are we to have this time with you today and to explore what I'm guessing by the lack of questions that came in was an absolute reality spinner for most of us. So sizzling summer relationships. What? So, before we get started, I know that you so adore to do the call-outs for who's joined us and what countries are contributing to us. Would you like to go there?
Yeah, actually I do, and we have even more joining us as we go, so I apologize if I haven't caught you. Greetings to Estonia, USA, Canada, Scotland, Hungary, Hungary, Switzerland, Romania, India, Australia, Mexico, Serbia, Austria, Norway, Denmark, Ireland, Taiwan, Nigeria, Germany, Slovenia, and there were 4 more that I haven't caught up with that Maxine just sent me in, but we've got over 22 countries with Right Relationship for you today, so how does it get any better than that? So grateful for all of you tuning in and tuning on and listening. And Tammy, about our topic for today.
Yes, about our topic for today. Having been through 4 of them and the amazing number of questions that normally come through, I was in shock and awe to see that nothing came through on our registrations. You pointed out that 1 came through on Facebook, so thank you. Yeah. And truthfully, Susan, do we even know that that's a possibility for relationships, even with ourselves? Well,
that's a great question. You know, for those of you who are just tuning in, I'm just going to introduce myself for a little bit. I've been married for over 35 years, and actually it's the Access tools that has created the kind of relationship that I play with that's sizzling all the time. It wasn't always great, but with these tools it's actually assisted me in creating something that is juicy and joyous and that I would like to share with you. 99% of the people out there aren't aware that there's a possibility to create a greater relationship, and I'm aware that I do see things differently. And so please, if you have any questions, our topic today is and was how to create that sizzling summer lovin', and it's the very first time that no one's written in. One of the things that I'm aware of when I facilitate the new beginning classes is that when we come to that portion of the class where we start asking questions about sex, sexualness, sexuality, what does sex mean to you? What do you mean to sex? What would it take to create the kind of relationship that sizzled all day long? People kind of space out. People disappear. So how many of us were actually brought up with sexualness as being part of who you were? How many of us were actually shown our parents? How many of you had parents that touched each other? How many of you had parents that showed you that a relationship and communion was one that wasn't just about copulation, it was about keeping the spark alive, keeping the sizzle alive. So what I thought I'd play with today is what are 3 ways in which we can actually keep that sizzle going, that we can create that kind of sizzle, and what have people misidentified and misapplied sizzle as? So does that sound like something we could play with today?
That sounds amazing. As you were speaking, I realized I was 17 when I met the family of my ex, and his mom hugged me, and I froze. I just froze. I'm like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" So as you were talking, yeah, no, that wasn't part of my growing up, even in that capacity. So yeah, how many others come from that background where even that kind of touch wasn't allowed?
Well, and you know, yeah, absolutely. Me too. When I first met Ricky, I would always be hugging him on the ski hill, on the beach, everywhere, and he'd be like, "Whoa." He was brought up in a family that prided itself on not showing affection outside. On not showing, it was rude to be open about your quote-unquote feelings or sensualness. That was something for private. So how many of us were brought up in an environment where you just carried on. You didn't show what was going on for you, whether it was good or bad, right or wrong. You were just told to, control yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, yeah, and one of the things that I've become aware of is people often misidentify and misapply someone going to give you a hug as, oh, they must want to copulate with me.
Yeah.
Because how many of us have separated ourselves from that touch? I mean, the human body requires to be touched. It requires that we're a sensate organ. And how many of us misidentify and misapply holding someone, dancing with someone, sharing a moment with someone as, oh, they must want to copulate with me, so I have to choose now, or I have to decide now. Oh, they said they like me, I guess that means copulation. Rather than just the communion of being held. I mean, you work with animals, Tammy, right? So
Yes.
when,
Yep.
when you caress a horse or pat a dog, they love that. They're like, oh, their bodies are like, oh, I'll have more of that. Yeah.
Yes, and thanks to Access and the amazing tools and processes and right relationship for you, I've even allowed myself to change those relationships. So the barriers go down, and I allow my body to turn on the way that theirs does, with that excitement and that pleasure. And so, yeah, what if that was actually possible with another person without making it meaningful and significant, and the projections into the future of all of that